And welcome back to Comic Frontline, everybody. I am Brant Fowler, aka the Gonzogoose, back with you for another Horror Corner installment. This time it is a big book that came out this past Wednesday. This is Edge of Spider-Verse, number 4 of 5. I Walked with a Spider. This is a horror take on the Peter Parker / Spider-Man mythos in an alternate version of universe. Of course, you have Patton Parnell as the Peter Parker character with Uncle Ted. We have Sarah Jane instead of Mary Jane, and of course the Spiders. And it's a really interesting take on the whole Spider-Man mythos, and perfect timing being here in October, almost Halloween time. This book is written by Clay McLeod Chapman with art by Elia Bonetti, colors by Veronica Gandini, letters by VC's Clayton Cowles, and cover by Gary Brown, variant cover by Greg Land and Maury Hollowell. And this, like I said, this is a real interesting take on it. The way it opens up, it's like, you may have heard this story before, but this is a little bit different. We see Patton Parnell kind of playing with ants. He's like using gamma rays, and everything's a science experiment to him, as he experiments with these creatures to see if they can handle the rays. He calls it gamma rays, but it's just him burning the ants with a magnifying glass. But even his next door neighbor, Sarah Jane, is a science experiment to him. And as he spies on her from his room, and just kind of makes her into this object that nobody he wants to date or anything. And we get the impression also that his Uncle Ted is not like Uncle Ben. He's the exact opposite. Later in the book, he's beating him with a belt. But Sarah Jane ends up talking to him as they're going to Allcorp, which is this universe's Oscorp. And they're going to see all these experiments, and she's going to free the animals, and she talks Patton into doing it as well. And in the process, of course, he gets bitten by the spider, as would happen in a Peter Parker style story. And then things just kind of go weird from there, as he develops these powers, but they're much different than the versions that we knew from the comic, from Spider-Man that we are so familiar with. This is it's a really eerie take, because this Patton Parnell, he develops these abilities, but he has to feed, and he feeds on like a dead mouse, and then it gets larger, a cat, and so on and so forth. He keeps going up and up until it's people that he's feeding on. And he learns that this species of spider, I don't want to give too much away, but it does something very different that causes a reaction towards the end of the issue that kind of gives you that, is this the end? But the cover, man, this is a fantastic cover. It's a throwback to classic pulp style, comic style, horror style covers. It's very reminiscent of like Afterlife with Archie, the Robert Aguirre Sacasa, whatever his name is, series with Francesco Francavilla doing covers on it. It's kind of reminiscent of that same horrific kind of style, but very powerful cover that kind of speaks to the way this story is, because it is very much a horror story, told through the eyes of a Peter Parker type character. You saw the art throughout this issue was fantastic. Very nice line work, very nice expressions on Patton's face, that this blank stare that you realize that he's not connected with humanity like our Peter Parker is. And just the struggles that he goes through, and when he turns into this thing, he changes, and it's really creepy the way that he goes about it, and the way he just lures people in and stuff. And it's a very fresh and interesting take on Spider-Man. And like I said, perfect time right here at Halloween. This was so far better than the last issue of Spider-Verse. So I really enjoyed this issue. I think if you're a horror fan, you definitely want to check this out, because it's got all those horror elements. It's that creepy, a little bit of realism that just kind of creeps you out, with the supernatural added into it, just to give you that extra effect. It's not supernatural, it's science fiction. So it's really interesting. And Moreland, of course, does get involved towards the end, and things go really crazy then. But I don't want to give too much away. But yeah, this was a very good issue. I'm going to give Edge of Spider-Verse number 4 out of 5 a 4.25. Yes, I'm going into the quarter points. Not quite as good as the Gwen Stacy for me, just because I'm a huge Gwen Stacy fan, but it did get me in the spirit of Halloween, and everything is perfect for the horror corner. A little bit better than the 4, so I'm going to give it a 4.25 out of 5 for Edge of Spider-Verse number 4. So check out all the other reviews we have here on Comic Frontline. Check out the rest of Horror Corner that we're going to be doing throughout the month of October in honor of the holiday, to keep all the creepy reviews going. And of course, check out our live show tonight. We're talking Flash. So tune in for that as we watch it and commentate on it. But yeah, check out all the other content we have on the channel. And of course, look up comicfrontline.com, comicrelated.com, zone4podcast.com, and Frontline Gaming Zone on YouTube. All your number one source for your comic news, reviews, podcasts, games, and so much more. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.